1-800-791-4933. That's 1-800-791-4933. 1-800-791-4933.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. I'm holding a book that will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at 80, you need to read this free book. It includes the strategy I use to make a 72% profit on a trade where the stock only moved 12%. You'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-900-4304. Skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-900-4304. 1-800-900-4304.
This plan is not insurance and does not meet minimum credible coverage requirements under the Affordable Care Act. This discount card program contains a 30-day cancellation and refund period. Administrator and benefits limited, Dallas, Texas, not available in all states.
You went to the dentist and he said you have to have a root canal and a crown. That's going to eat up almost $3,000. You could get it all for around $1,600. That's almost 50% less because you're a member of RealMedSavings.com. What is Real Med Savings? It's a membership like a discount club that lets you access huge networks of medical professionals for a whole lot less money. You save money because we've already negotiated the discounts. RealMedSavings.com costs less than $1 a day for the whole family. But Real Med Savings is not just for dental. It's doctor's consultations, vision, prescription drugs, and more. There's no long-term commitment and no salesman is going to call. Cancel anytime. Save real money on healthcare you need and use for everyday medical problems. Real medical savings for your entire family. RealMedSavings.com.
660 AM The Answer. 660 AMTheAnswer.com. If it's important to you, we're talking about it right now on the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Former Texas Governor Rick Perry has seized the mantle as the most vocal Republican critic of Donald Trump's presidential candidacy, upped the ante by calling for the bombastic billionaire to immediately exit the 2016 race for taking a shot at John McCain. Perry's statement came shortly after Trump, speaking in an early voting Iowa, called into question whether U.S. Senator John McCain of Arizona is a true war hero. McCain, a former Navy pilot, was imprisoned and tortured for several years after his plane was shot down during the Vietnam War. He broke his back on ejection and had to live through that untreated, and then was tortured relentlessly for 5.5 years. The man's a war hero. But it's not up to Rick Perry to decide what Don Trump should do. Donald Trump should run his race. The voters of Iowa will decide whether his statement was ill-conceived. With all due respect to a man I have sincere respect for, Rick Perry, he doesn't need to make statements like, "These comments have reached a new low in American politics." Oh, really? Sorry, Governor, I happen to remember some of the things they said about you last time. Believe me, they are far lower than what Donald Trump said about John McCain, especially considering John McCain. That's just my opinion. But the thing about it that offends me to the very core, I don't have any problem with Rick Perry saying what he's saying. He's competing with Donald Trump. If he can convince Donald Trump to commit suicide in this race, then that's one less person he has to deal with. He's run a great race so far. He said, if you're not a governor, you have no business in the race. That's a smart move. Being as how he's got the best gubernatorial record of anybody running for the presidency. He does. But I don't think he helps himself by trying to coerce something that isn't his choice. It's the voter's choice. 866-660-5759. Will in Carrollton, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hi.
Mr. Wells, how are you doing today?
Mr. Will, I am doing wonderfully well. Thank you.
I've got a little bit to say about Donald Trump and a little bit to say about John McCain. We'll start with Donald Trump first. I don't think he'd make a very good president. He filed for bankruptcy, 4 times?
Well, it depends on.
he
No,
would-
wait, whoa. He didn't. He has never filed for bankruptcy. Some of his companies have. Like Trump Taj Mahal. That wasn't. I mean, he set up a company that went bankrupt. He didn't personally do that. He's never declared personal bankruptcy.
Yeah, I'm not talking about personal bankruptcy. I'm talking about the business thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be the right choice to run a $16 trillion company.
You think Barack Obama is? No. I mean, let's think about some of the guys. Yeah. Now that's a great point, Will, and I'm glad you made it. But who among all the people that are in this race, Democrat and Republican, who among those people would have a clue about running? It's actually a $14 trillion per year economy.
You got me on that one.
Yeah.
I do not know at this point.
The answer is there isn't anybody who could do it except maybe Donald Trump as the closest, but I want to hear it. I think Donald Trump would be that would be a rough row to hoe when it comes to a presidency. I mean, I'm watching Donald Trump because I want him to force other people to speak about things they don't normally have to speak about. I think that's why he's there.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a fact. But anyway, keep going.
And as for John McCain, all I really have to say about Mr. McCain is being captured, being a POW is not what makes him a hero. What makes him a hero is going through the torture he suffered without breaking.
That's a fact.
That being said about him, I think at this point in his life, senility's set in. He should be sat in a chair, wrapped in shawls, and fed gruel every day for the rest of his life.
So what did you just say?
I think he should be sat in a chair.
Who?
John McCain.
Why?
Wrapped in shawls and fed gruel every day.
Why? Why?
Yes, I think senility is set in.
Oh.
I think he's reached that point.
Nah. No, his mother's still alive. She's like 90, 100,000 years old or something. He's fine. He's just out of date. Okay? He's just old and out of date. And what's getting lost in all of this is Donald Trump saying, hey, for a guy who hangs his entire hat on being a veteran, he's sure done lousy work for the veterans of America. And that's an arguable point, is it not? If it's a Republican president, then the Republican president is responsible for the disarray of the VA medical system. If it's a Democrat president, then somebody else is responsible for it. But it certainly isn't the Democrat president, even though it is the Democrat president. Shame on President Obama for that mess. So it's a horrific mess. So anyway, Donald Trump makes a mistake, et cetera, et cetera. But here's another question. Here's another point. And this is coming to you from the Daily Caller. One of the explanations for Donald Trump's surging poll numbers goes like this. The base does not trust Republican leaders on immigration. This manifests in support for a man who tells it like it is. The problem with this is that immigration on the right is largely about rhetoric. Most everybody agrees we've got to secure the border, even though the most hawkish anti-immigration reform advocates won't admit they want to deport the 11 million or so illegals. There are differences of opinion on whether to allow for a pathway to citizenship or to legalize them, but almost nobody is advocating for mass deportation. You don't have to do that anyway. Tell them this. Tell them that their continued work in the United States depends on them getting a work permit that they can only get in Mexico. Open up offices to go get that work permit in Mexico only, because that's the only place you can get it, and they will deport themselves. By virtue of the fact that they tell us who they are able to prove that they've got a clean record both in Mexico and the United States. They get a free pass back into the country to go right back to work. They absolutely pay taxes, and all the taxes that they pay go to the Social Security Fund, period. They don't get access to that money. They don't get access to that money until they are United States citizens paying into the fund on their own account. They are not paying into the fund on their own account with my system. They are paying into our account. And oh, by the way, concurrently paying a fine for living on America's generosity for all the years that they've been here. They can work here for 2 years, then they have to go get it renewed. At 4 years, they have to start the whole process over again. They have to go prove that they've had a good, successful life, that they have not stepped on anything, they don't have any DUIs, blah, 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 blah. And then they come back for 2 more years. They do not get to apply for American citizenship unless they have one of these work permits. That way, you don't have to deport 11 million anybody's. You just have to make it necessary for them to go home, kiss their relatives whom they're sending all this money to, walk up to a couple of Mexican politicians and say, you need to say thanks to me because thanks to the dollars I'm sending back to you, you still have a job. And then they come back up here and get their job done. But nobody wants to actually solve the problem, except me and maybe you. Robert in Dallas, welcome to the Wells Report. Hello.
Hey, JD, I think the biggest appeal for Donald Trump is that he absolutely loves America. And he loves America more than a political party, which is more than we can say about Mitch McConnell. It's more than we can say about John Boehner. And it's damn sure more than we can say about the President of the United States that has sold us out to the river.
I hear you. I hear you. So now, suppose you're a Republican leader tasked with winning the election, and your job is to try to figure out whether or not Donald Trump's popularity is real. What do you do? Well, if you're me and you're making that decision, I say trust the voters, trust the primary process. But you've got a problem with the primary process, don't you, Republican Party? You've so corrupted the primary processes in an effort to make it possible for you to engineer the proper candidate as opposed to the people voting for the proper candidate. You've done that for so long, you don't know how to do it any other way. You don't know how to actually go into the arena of ideas and come up with better policy. Jeb Bush has been in the race for a couple of months. I still have no idea what he wants to do. None. You want to know who's absolutely handling this perfectly? Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was unambiguous in his praise of John McCain, calling his fellow senator a hero. But the senator from Texas refused to join the food fight, being egged on by the media with the other 2016 presidential hopefuls of the Republican Party by denouncing Donald Trump. Cruz told reporters he considers McCain a friend whom he respects and admires. Not only did he sign up to defend our nation, putting his life in harm's way, but when he was a POW, he was imprisoned, tortured, and most incredibly, was offered the opportunity for an early release. He was offered the opportunity to go home. He turned it down because he believed it would be dishonorable to accept that. You know, I recognize that the folks in the press love to see Republican on Republican violence. And so you want me to say something bad about Donald Trump or bad about John McCain or bad about somebody else. I'm not going to do it. Please pay attention, Governor Rick Perry. That is how a pro handles it. Ben Carson suggested that Trump's comments were stupid, but he was also hesitant to wade into the debate. Asked by reporters whether he considered McCain a war hero, Carson said, "It depends on your definition of a war hero. I think he did some wonderful things. Certainly history is consistent with what we would consider a war hero. Do we take that away from him because people disagree with him politically? I think that's probably stupid." Carson said simply, "I believe that Senator McCain has done some wonderful things." There. See, this is the important thing that we have to keep in mind here. These people are trying to warp the American political process. They need to just sit down and report it. They need to tell the story today. They need to tell the story that Donald Trump said something stupid. They need to tell the story that John McCain did not take offense. They need to tell the story that Rick Perry decided to, I don't know, jump up and join the Republican food fight that the mainstream media was trying to engineer. They need to report all the facts so that you and I can decide whether or not we think that any of these people are worth electing to the presidency. Because we're the people that get to make the choice. And I don't care how much faux, stupid outrage the mainstream media wants to throw at me. They played that card too many times. I read what they write every single day. I see the garbage that they heap on the consciousness of the American people. This radio show is the antidote to that professional malpractice. I'm not trying to get anybody elected or diselected. I'm trying to report the news. You know, like Mama used to make. And you as a voter in the United States, you are the only people that can make the right choice. You. This is your responsibility. If the United States goes down the tubes because we, for whatever reason, forget to do something to keep Hillary Clinton from being elected, then the country deserves to go down the tubes. If you haven't gotten your feet wet when it comes to wading through the political flood in a presidential campaign, then it's high time you find a way to do it. You're going to have to put some blood, sweat, and tears into the move this time, because you're actually going to have to go out there and do the work that our political enemies do as a matter of course. That's why they keep winning. And that's why this country is where it is. You can't expect people to do the right thing. You have to explain why it's the right thing. And that's the job we do. This is the Wells Report.
Okay, you're on.
We're here live from Niagara Falls for this year's Spring Festival. Wait, what?
That'll do it.
Great job, Will.
You two, what are you doing?
Sorry, Canada. You had a leak.
Look, it's Will Nell and Fred Thompson from American Leak Detection.
American Leak Detection.
Guys, come over here. Come here. All right. Here with me now are the guys with American Leak Detection. Please explain yourselves.
Well, at American Leak Detection, we have been detecting and repairing hidden leaks in your home for more than 25 years, big or small.
And all without damaging your home. We can even repair leaks in your swimming pools. Hey, looks like DFW needs us. Just go to AmericanLeakDetection.com to schedule us to come out. That's AmericanLeakDetection.com.
When the economy crashed in 2008, the Fed lowered interest rates. They've been low ever since. But now the economy's improving, and most experts believe the Fed will start raising interest rates very soon. That means you should refinance your mortgage now to pull cash out of your home at today's low rates, because once the Fed starts raising rates, they probably won't stop. So beat the Fed to the punch and refi your mortgage before it's too late by making the cash call at 855-875-CASH. Today, Cash Call Mortgage is offering a 15-year fix at 2.99% rate and APR with no closing costs. You have the chance to pull tens of thousands out of your home, lock in a low rate, and pay absolutely nothing out of pocket. But you have to act now. Cash Call Mortgage is designed to save. Call 855-875-CASH today.
Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. 1 City Boulevard, West Suite 200, Orange, California 92868. Equal housing lender. Call 866-900-8744 for terms and restrictions. Subject to loan underwriting. Rates may change without notice. NMLS number 128231.
That's 855-875-CASH.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had numerous credit cards and I was struggling with paying them off because being a teacher, you don't make a whole lot of money.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360 to talk to a certified counselor.
I had heard about Trinity, so I made the call. They took care of all of my credit cards, and now I am completely debt-free.
Trinity will consolidate your bills, stop collections costs.